I'm here with my buddy Spence, and we're going to replace the front fender on a 2006 Dodge Caravan. The last time I replaced a fender was on a 1955 Pontiac sedan, and that was in my teens. So you can tell that was a long time ago. I have here the Dodge Caravan Haynes repair manual, and that's going to be our guide. Okay, the first thing we've done is jacked up the front of the car. I've used the jack that comes with the vehicle and jacked it up, and we don't have jack stands. I recommend jack stands, but what we've done, we blocked it up with 2x4s. So now we're ready to take out the plastic structure inside, the splash guard. Okay, I've just taken off this fender to rocker guard. I'm not too sure what they actually call it, but the first thing I noticed is that you have on the top here a plastic piece which is a push fit, and also on the bottom we have a nut which is also does dual purpose for the one of the fender security holes. I've discovered in 4 locations, just directly in front, you can see the holes here, 1, 2, 3, 4. They have this one-time press fit securing plastic bit. So I don't have these. We're about to head down to the local supplier to see if we can pick up 4 of these. The next thing I'm attempting to do is to remove the side mirror, because apparently I have to do that to get at one of the screws for the fender. So they mentioned you need to pull off this plastic bit, which fits over the mirror like so. And the way I got this off is I pried the top corner. It had clips on it. It was quite difficult to come off, but I did manage to get it. And underneath that you'll find torque screws. And so I'm about to take those off, and hopefully the mirror will come off. They do mention in the book that you're supposed to disconnect the wiring to the mirror, but I'm hoping that I don't have to do that. I'll leave the wiring connected and still be able to get at the bolt. We'll give it a try and see. The manual says to remove the side mirror, and before you do that you should disconnect the power going to it by lifting up the panel inside. I wanted to see if I could remove the mirror and leave the wiring intact. So what I've done exactly that. One thing I should point out, there's a third torque screw that you have to get to by opening up the door in order to take the mirror off. And what we've done, Spence has suggested taping it to the windshield, and that's what I've done. The wiring is still intact. It's out of our way. I can get to the bolt for the fender here. Okay, I've removed the headlight, which is held on by 3 screws on the top. I'm just setting it aside here, just to see what we're facing with for any kind of securing of the fender in here. I'm hoping that we don't have to take the front bumper off, although they say in the manual that you need to. So I'm just investigating that now. So now we're removing the bolts or screws holding in the top of the fender. And there's one at the front here, you can see just by the headlight, and there's 1, 2, 3 back here. The third one back here is very difficult to get to. We actually had to drop the hood down to a third position in order to get a box end wrench or an open end wrench in there. It did eventually come up. It's slow going, but you can get her. Okay. We've removed all the screws and the bolts that hold the fender on, and I'll just point out some that you should be aware of. There's a torque screw, which is at the corner of the windshield here that has to be removed. And you need to have the hood down a bit to do that. Don't forget the one that's underneath the mirror. There's one that goes in towards the middle of the door. You get to that from the inside on the wheel well. You'll have to pull aside some foam backing to get at that. 2 at the bottom. We're going to take this off without removing the bumper. You can do that by getting at these screws underneath here. There's enough flexibility to allow you to get the fender off. I'm pretty sure that's possible. The Haynes manual says to take the bumper off, but I think that's unnecessary. We'll see how it goes. These 2 bolts in here are a challenge to get at, unless you actually pull the bumper away. And then they're quite easy to get to. And then when you're ready and they're tight, you can just slip the bumper back in and then bolt it down. There's a nut there and a screw up here. Make sure there's a little retaining clip here that the screw goes into. Make sure that's in place. So, got the new fender on. Well, the used fender, but it's new for this. Point out a couple of things. The little plastic pieces that I mentioned that I had to go down to the supplier for, they're really expensive. They gave me the good guy price at $5 a piece, and I needed 4 of them. So that's pricey. The other thing is, this little piece here that's between the rocker panel and the fender, you're looking at 2 rubber plastic rivets, one at the top and one at the bottom there. The dealer didn't have those. They were $7.50 a piece, so I'm going to head down to Lordco and see if they got something to do. Otherwise, I'll probably just use a couple of screws and bolts, or screws and nuts. So there you have it. Wasn't too bad. Didn't have to take off the front bumper. Didn't have to disconnect the electrical from the mirror.
How many hours?
Oh, Spence, my buddy Spence just said, how many hours? We're probably looking at, maybe close to 4 hours for this job, but you know, that's me and I'm an old guy, so is Spence. So for a younger guy who's a little more knowledgeable than we are, it might go a bit faster than that. But overall, it wasn't too bad.